Election day, Hillary Clinton is moving ahead of Donald Trump in the polls. And in the reliably Republican state of Utah, another candidate has emerged as a favorite. Let's bring in Evan McMullin, independent candidate for president and a native of Utah, which hasn't voted for a non-Republican for president since 1964. He joins us now from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Good to have you here. We're having you on, not because we think you can eventually win this presidency, but because you are rising in the polls enough in Utah that there's a threat that some of those electoral votes don't actually go to the Republican, but go to you. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me. Yes, we're very excited about the traction that we've been able to generate in Utah. We're seeing that spill over into other Mountain West states. I'm in Wyoming now. We've spent some time in Idaho recently. And we're just going to push as hard as we can for the next couple of weeks. But we're excited about what we've seen.
It's going to be a really tough electoral race, obviously, and Donald Trump is behind on that front. What do you say to Republicans who might be watching right now and saying, really, for all his flaws, if Utah's electoral votes don't go to him, it's that much harder for him to beat Hillary Clinton?
He's not going to beat Hillary Clinton unless something truly dramatic and incredible happens. He's down in all of the Electoral College projections. This is why I and my running mate Mindy Finn both warned the Republican Party not to nominate Donald Trump. He's an absolutely terrible candidate. He had no chance even against a deeply corrupt and flawed candidate that Hillary Clinton is,
Evan,
and that's the reality.
You don't know whether, God bless you, but,
if you want to ignore the polls, that's fine. But they're pretty clear.
Then let's not have the election. That's absurd. At Brexit, it was 52-48. As it came out, it was 52-48 the other way. It's likely that you're right, but you don't know. And the fact is, you're taking electoral vote.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. Interrupt
You're talking about a popular vote. I'm talking about the projection. The projections in the Electoral College. You can deny that all you want, like the Trump supporters, but that's the reality.
Look, you're taking votes away from the Republican, and you're making it harder to stop Hillary Clinton. You can say what you are.
So I'm taking votes away from Donald Trump.
Okay.
He might be the Republican. He's no conservative. This guy wants to grow the size of the federal government.
Okay.
He wants single-payer health care. He's always been in favor of late-term abortions. Doesn't support the Second Amendment.
Well,
this guy wants to increase the size of our national debt. Is that what you're hoping for? Is that what you're defending?
Everything we heard from him in the debate.
Evan, this Ken Langone here. First of all, I commend you for getting into the process. I think the more people we have get involved, the better we're going to be over the long term.
But
that said, all the things you said about Trump, which I may agree or not agree with, doesn't matter.
They're true. It's a fact.
He says so.
The message to me is
Donald Trump said
whatever his percentage is, let's say it's 45% of the vote, if we don't understand what the meaning of that vote is, not Trump, but the American people, because if he's as bad as you said he is, and that many people vote for him, you have to ask yourself the question, what do we need to do for the American people to become united again? Because you're making the point that's most important of all. The American people are angry. They're fed up. They've been disappointed. They've been misled. All those things. Forget about whether the Democrats or the Republicans did it. The big issue is, what do we read into the results of this election? If Hillary wins 55-45, I contend America lost. We didn't win, we lost.
Well, I would certainly agree with you. Look, I think the kind of leadership we need in this country is leadership that will return power to the states. There's too much power concentrated in Washington, D.C. That ends up meaning that the 330 million of us fight over the decisions that are made there. Big corporation dollars fight over the decisions, chase those decisions there. It breeds corruption. We've got a government that believes it's unaccountable to the American people. We've got to return power to the states. That's how our founders envisioned this. They understood that we would have a diverse country. They understood that self-rule required that. And we've got to return power to the states, and that'll solve a lot of our problems, mainly government accountability.
How do you feel about term limits, Evan?
I support them, but what office are you talking about? But in general, I support them.
For the House, and we have it for the presidency now, for the House and the Senate.
Yeah, I support them.
You can throw all the rocks you want at Trump, but the remarks he made about limiting lobbying in Washington and restrictions on who can lobby and when, it's all part of the whole package. We need to fix this.
Well, that's certainly true, and I support term limits, but I'm sorry, you're talking about that's hardly an excuse for Donald Trump's candidacy, which has been a bigoted, misogynistic, xenophobic candidacy that has divided this country. Even during this race, he's not president, he won't be president, but he's not president. He's still divided this country. He's done enormous harm to our country, even as a candidate. So, look, he's not somebody who respects our system. He doesn't understand the division of, or the separation of powers. He came to, when I was still, when I was the chief policy director in Congress, and he visited us there, he proclaimed his support for parts of the Constitution that don't even exist. This is the kind of guy he is.
Okay. Kevin, Don Quixote, thanks for joining us.